All right. Hey, good morning, YouTube. How has everybody been getting through this week? Halfway there. Probably lasting longer than it should, right? Hey, hope everybody's doing good. Coming to you at this midway week hour. There's quite a bit going on. We'll try to kick it through here. A couple things. But the weather is continuing to outperform. If you need water, you're probably getting it unless you're in California or Nevada. Seems like everybody's been getting rain, more rain. That big mess up there over the northeast in Canada was looking like almost a hurricane last night, like in Stan's area up there. Very, very wet, as this summer has been for a good portion of the country. And then you got that big cell over Kansas right now. That looks like tornado weather. It looks like the monsoon's delivering some good rain to Arizona, Utah, Colorado, etc. So enjoy it while you got it, I guess would be the word. We ain't got it, so but it is nice. It's a lot cooler out here. It's been definitely cooler. We I think we barely touched 90 yesterday. Been really breezy, and the nighttime temperatures are dipping down pretty good, so that's good. But moving past our immediate weather situation, well, not moving past, not the immediate. It is the immediate. That Hawaii hurricane has taken a turn for the worse, as they say. It looks like they're predicting it to hit the Big Island and then over the rest of the islands as well. You're seeing some of this track. Everybody's doing preparations. Saw on the interwebs, social media, Facebook, elsewhere. A lot of different evacuation centers are getting set up. All the preparations are getting put in place. Everybody's getting their plywood or doing whatever they think they need to do. Everybody is expecting it to hit them pretty good, and it is a Category 5 as of last night. They got their emergency proclamation last night. I'm just going through a little bit of the preparations. What's going on? I think they're just all getting ready, but it was a quite large hurricane as of last night. It's not messing around. So hopefully, again, cancel those surfing plans, and everybody there gets battened down. It's a definitely different animal hurricane out there in the middle of the Pacific than it is like when it hits the Gulf Coast or something, because it's not hitting a landmass that takes away all its energy. It's got a landmass under it and it could still potentially gain energy because it's still over open water, essentially, in a lot of respects, depending on how it hits island or whatever. It's not hitting a large landmass that can take away some of its power and wind and rain and everything else. So we'll see how that impacts Hawaii. Hey, good morning, Tommy boy. How you doing? Joining us. M Long is with us out there. I think you can hear me now. I had it briefly muted there for a second. I think you should be good now. Aaron Cox is with us. Good morning. Arizona's getting lots of rain. Yeah, it's weird, right? It's been a well, that's monsoon for Arizona, but the East Coast in particular has gotten a ton of rain. East Coast and the South. Smoking Locust is with us this morning. Good morning. Thanks for checking in. So keep it on the theme of, well, I don't know, which way should we go here? We'll stick with natural disasters, but go to our favorite example of Venezuela. They had an earthquake yesterday. Here it says 7.3. I've seen 7.0, 7.2. I don't know if they've exactly hammered that down yet, but either way, um, bad event, making things much worse. Felt from Colombia all up into the Caribbean. There'll be a map here in a second. Everybody evacuated their buildings and everything after the event. There's some of the damaged photos here in the UK paper. This is a pretty significant, like that's a serious crack in that building there. Like it's definitely looks like there's going to be a lot of damage. I haven't heard of any casualties. There's been some injuries, but no deaths, I don't believe. So that's good. But you think about the property damage coupled with all the other problems in Venezuela, and it is very bad. Supermarket images. They initially called for a tsunami, but then they called that off. I think there's some video here. Let's see what this looks like. If this wants to play. That is not wanting to cooperate. Just play it in small. It's not wanting to load right. We'll move on. But that is in the links if you wanted to check that out. Hey, good morning, Alicia. Alicia Clegg has joined us. There's the map of the epicenter just off the coast there. Not far from Caracas, going into the neighboring countries as well. Where did I see that picture? There's a hotel that was leaning. It was definitely off its foundations, you would say. I don't know if that was on this article or not. Hey, Backwoods Law, good morning. How you doing? You made it. Congratulations. out of Bogota. Says here that they actually had an earthquake alarm in Colombia. So they got that slight bit of advanced warning. And evacuated the building as the main earthquake hit. We'll move on. The Daily Mail site doesn't load very well. This is a very interesting now coming up. How much money it is compared to other items. This is an interesting article. It's just got a stack of how much currency it took. This is the old currency. This isn't the new sovereign bolivar, but current exchange rates that people are paying because the old currency is in effect for a little bit of time. But it takes 14,600,000 bolivars, or about $2.22 to buy a chicken. And it's got a series of tomatoes, 5 million bolivars, basically about 76 cents. A roll of toilet paper. It'd be better to keep the money, use that as toilet paper, than buy the toilet paper. It's pretty apparent to me. And it's 2.6 million bolivars, or 40 cents for a roll of toilet paper. Which actually in US rates sounds relatively affordable, but you're not making US dollars. You're dealing with that mess they have down there. A kilogram of carrots, as they say here, 3 million bolivars, 46 cents. A bar of soap, 3.5 million bolivars, 53 cents. It's a good case for making your own soap. Save that cash for toilet paper. Diapers, 8 million bolivars, $1.22 for a package, which seems reasonable in dollars terms, but 2.2 pounds of meat, 9.5 million bolivars, $1.45. I think these were all taken at the same market as an example. It's a Reuters reporter, Carlos Garcia Rollins, somebody who is obviously invested in Venezuela and what is going on. But it takes way too much to buy way too little, and people are suffering. And then they get an earthquake. I found that interesting comparison that they have there. There's several stories on the Drudge about the Venezuela situation between the earthquake, and then they have several economic collapse on the left-hand side here. Ecuador is organizing a regional crisis summit, and pregnant women are running to Brazil to give birth. No surprise there. So that's all interesting. On the also out there, sticking its ugly head back out, we have a new outbreak of Ebola. This is on Zero Hedge. The death toll is at 55, and this just popped up again in the last couple of weeks after they had declared an initial outbreak over. Another one popped up in a different region immediately thereafter. It was almost like the same day that they did that. Another one occurred. They just the Democratic Republic of Congo, the DNC, just announced, don't confuse that with Democratic National Convention, DNC, the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So if I say DNC, don't get all flustered. Announced 5 new cases of Ebola hemorrhagic fever in the Mabalako hot zone. Mabalako. bringing the total number of deaths to 55. Of the currently 66 infected with the disease, 13 are health workers, just under 20%. Again, we go into this anomaly that we've seen for the last, well, when was Ebola? 2014, when Ebola broke out again last time. And the significant difference was it was hitting health workers harder than it ever had before. We were speculating either they were improperly using protective equipment or they were just didn't have it. DNC officials have announced free treatment for all victims over the next 3 months. Supplies are being delivered to vital areas. Supplies are being delivered, vital areas, new facilities are being constructed to handle the ill. Health officials in Mabalakako, Benai, and Mangina have been utilizing the unlicensed vaccine, the vaccine RVSV-ZBOV, which was used during another DRC Ebola outbreak earlier this week, in which there were 33 fatalities out of 54 cases. The DRC, or the Democratic Republic of the Congo, meanwhile, has said a new Ebola treatment center will soon open in nearby Ituri province, as the currently established ETCs, or Ebola treatment centers, as it says here, are at capacity. So they're using the unlicensed vaccine as their attempt to slow this stuff down. Maybe this is how the zombie apocalypse starts. Who knows? Example of the symptoms. Just remember, if anytime you're excreting blood from places that blood shouldn't be coming from, you probably have a problem. Hopefully it's not Ebola. The World Health Organization announced over Twitter that 10 vaccination rings had been identified around 28 recently confirmed cases, while around 1,300 have been vaccinated. So it sounds like they have 28 people that they've identified who they've had contact with or what areas they live in or work in, and they've attempted to vaccinate the people around that. A lot of concerns here on untested vaccine and what it actually means. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens in the Congo. Some examples of some of the field rooms and staff. It looks like they set up place to put on the health workers put on their equipment, the protective equipment, and then the actual treating rooms and isolation quarantine rooms they have. Some pretty high dollar stuff. Definitely almost like something you would see out of a movie, but occurring in the middle of Africa. So it looks like there's a little bit of militant action in some of these areas, or hot zones as they call them here. local conflicts going on in Benai. For example, 2016 massacre, which at least 64 people were killed by militants, bringing in the toll to over 700 dead. So in the midst of turmoil and civil war of some sort, they're trying to accomplish some of this. It's not going to work out well for anybody. Some more of the field tents. I wonder when their rainy season starts. I wonder how those tents hold up in strong storms. So it closes out here. This epidemic is going to bring a lot of surprises. It's not like the epidemic in the Equator that we have known already. The epidemic will bring with it a lot of surprises. The number of cases is going up and the number of infected zones is increasing. So it will take a long time to control this epidemic. And for the antivirals, which the companies will provide us, they are ready to increase the doses, said Moembe. Somebody we've talked about earlier, must be one of the main doctors or something. So that situation continues to just get worse. So there's every time one pops up, they just have more problems. So concerning, we'll see how that affects the United States if we have the same scare that we had last time where people couldn't come in and everything else, that madness. Remember the flight of the American doctor, they flew back to the States and that whole mess that we dealt with. Hey, Barry Wood, good morning. How's it going? Alicia says, should be worried about the Ring of Fire. The volcano Ring of Fire? I haven't seen many articles on it. I mean, there was the Indonesian earthquakes. There were a series of them, which is in the Ring of Fire area. It's one of those things that's always ready to pop off, I guess you'd say. It's not like it ever goes away. It's there. It's just a matter of when, I guess. Everybody predicts at some point something large will happen based on it. Tommy Boy, you're not getting photos of guards beating on prisoners. Or not that I haven't seen anything like that today. Most of it's about the economics and about Trump and his court implications, impeachments, Manafort, and everything like that. It's not. I haven't seen any police abuse stuff today. Yeah, like Backwoods says here, Ring of Fire is always primed for major earthquakes, right? Yeah, it's always just a matter of time and opportunity. Tommy Boy. Okay, true that. Yeah, and Venezuela should have plenty of leaves. There's plenty of large tree leaves and stuff. It looks like in that area, so should not be an issue, like you said. Hey, RG Homestead, good morning. Hope you're doing good. You looks like you're getting some rain down your way. Well, Alicia, you live in Utah. Why would you worry? But if Mammoth Mountain goes up as a part of that, we're all screwed anyway. Barry Woods joined us. Oh yeah, I said Barry, didn't I? Never get a vac shot, right? James McIntyre, good morning. With very few exceptions, Barry. I found it interesting. I was checking in on the bond market that we continue to harp on. We're down at 2.819, which means people are buying U.S. 10-year treasuries. So they feel safer doing that than other things, I guess you would say. Um, I don't get it. I don't know what the market's predicted to open. We're still below 26,000. That's still see how that mess continues to shake out as they continue to manipulate things downward. This was an interesting stat that the markets are on the largest bull run ever. I guess you could say that's sustained by QE1, QE2, QE3, QE4. At what price did we pay for growing stock market portfolios while the rest of America pretty much hasn't seen a huge benefit like the stock market has, which has encouraged everybody to put their money into it, which has caused this incredible run. Somebody's gonna pull their money out at some point. It's just digits on a computer until you actually pull something out. So it looks like we're on the largest bull market, or set to become the longest on record. Um, so they're considering the current bull market started on March 9, 2009, became the longest one on record since World War II on Wednesday, which is today, by avoiding a 20% or more decline. And the longest since World War II. It's risen more than 300% since its low 9 years ago. Do you feel like your wages and economic prosperity has risen 300% since 9 years ago? Probably not. Surpassed the rally from 1990 to early 2000, which totaled 3,452 days. Interesting. It's almost all supported by all the QEs, all the Federal Reserve Bank's tricks and tips that they did over the last 6, 7, 8 years, with all those different money manipulation activities they undertook. It's not like it's happened in a completely natural environment where people were just investing their money because it was the thing to do and they wanted to save and invest, and there was money to save and invest. Most of this came through Federal Reserve manipulation. That is a very important thing to remember. There's a lot of inflation sucked into the market that is going to get either squeezed out if people are smart, or it's going to crash. People are going to lose their wealth that they thought they had for retirement. They thought they had for college funds. They thought they had for X, Y, and Z. Alicia asked, "What about Europe?" Did I say hey to you, J Mac? I don't know if I said hello to J Mac. What's up, James? How you doing this morning? Alicia asks, "What about Europe? Are they going to halt immigration from Africa?" Well, the fools don't seem like they're going to. There was an argument in Italy about that. I saw a brief video about two Italian guys. One of them looks like he's, real native Italian, and the other guy looks like he's part Middle Eastern or maybe Northern Europe, Northern African or something. Just he has a different appearance, right? But they're on different sides. The Italian guy's like, we need to stop the immigration. We need to stop this madness. And the other guy's arguing, just like American liberals argue, that you have no heart, you have no compassion for these people. It's like they're not our problem. We need to stop it because they're destroying a country. They're harming people, and they come into the country and a lot of crimes and everything. Like we've seen throughout Europe, the Sweden example, the issues going on up there. I don't think I've heard anybody say they're going to stop immigration from Africa or from the Middle East for that matter. The refugee situation there continues to hurt everybody. So there's the bull market graph, up, 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 up. Yeah, 20% correction from here would put us down 4,500 points. That's not a huge. I mean, we're right now at 25. If we go down to 21,000, is that really a big deal to most of us? Wall Street would panic. Would we be like, eh? I mean, 20% is, even if they call that a large correction, the end of a bull market, not that big a deal. But when they correct down 20% plus and it keeps going down, down, edging downward, that's what everybody is worried about, is if it crashes, if it gets that 20% correction, it's going to cause the panic because everybody's expecting it to really go off the cliff because of all the manipulation that's in the market, at least in my eyes. What else we got going on out there in the side chat? Tommy Boy. Oh, Miss Mary, how you doing? I didn't see you checking in there. Hey, thanks for dropping by. Tommy Boy, I don't know what you watch on TV or who Jonathan Scott and Janice Jacinta, whoever that is, decided to break up. If you say so, I'll take your word for it. Fractional Truth, good morning. How are you doing? Yeah, I said it yesterday, and I've said it many years ago, that Trump is the prime candidate to be president, to oversee the crash of the economy, because he can keep the American people divided if he's the president, because half the populace is going to continue to support him while the other are going to be like, look, he's an evil rich guy, doesn't care about the little guy. That's why this is all happening to us and why we're so downtrodden and oppressed. It's going to continue that division, and he's a perfect head man to have in charge when that all goes down, whether it's now or 6 years from now. And like I hypothesized yesterday, he could, maybe they install him for the third term because he needs to oversee the transition and the rebuilding. It's so bad, but it's like, just like there were fears of Obama staying for a third term, wouldn't be past them to keep Trump in for a third term if it benefited them. Oh, Alicia, you mean halting immigration because of Ebola? So Europe should halt immigration from Africa. They didn't last time. They had cases show up in Spain, etc. They had the Spanish healthcare worker. They're doing the same insanity that we did. They didn't. There's ways to, protect your country and not totally shut off every form of commerce, but they see it as a zero sum game where it's either all or none. We can't filter. We can't make decisions. People at those levels seem to be really hard at making hard decisions. Like, okay, we're still going to have commerce. We're going to, have these, shipping and everything else. But if you're an actual traveler, no visitor visas, for a certain period of time. If you have family members in the U.S., maybe there's a quarantine situation. They established a procedure to monitor people that were from the Congo or whatever country has an Ebola outbreak, a process to monitor them when they do come to the country. But they want it to be an all or nothing. Everybody gets monitored or nobody does. It's the whole, we don't want to be racist, I guess, or something like that. And Africa will suffer a lot quicker than we do because they do get a lot more of those problems. But if you got people running up on your beach, like in Spain and in Italy, people just coming up on the beach in boats, how are you going to screen that? Why would you not shut that down at all cost? J Mac, J Mac had a conversation with a liberal yesterday. Told you are a heartless bastard because I don't want your legal refugees or open borders. Do you mean illegals, refugees, or open borders? Are you saying shut off all immigration completely? Was that your argument? Which is completely a reasonable argument. It's not like we have to take in immigrants. It's not as much as people try to say it's a, you know, a do or die situation. It's nothing that we have to do. Right, HRM. Hey, good morning. How you doing? There's no U.S. GDP to secure it. Talking about the economy and whatnot. Yeah, and as we've seen, was it 2 days ago? They came out. Our GDP is like 20 trillion, and our debt is 21 trillion. So our debt has surpassed our gross domestic product. So we could use all of our domestic product in 1 year, and still couldn't wipe out all the debt. That's not good. All right, folks, we're come up to the end here. I would say watch out for impeachment hearings, but I don't know how much of this is going to get any traction or how manipulated that all is. But that's quite the mess that the president has himself in. But he got his defenders and people defending him to the end, despite our warnings to the contrary earlier years ago. But it's definitely causing some further division in the country. And yeah, pray for Hawaii. Venezuela needs all the help they can get. You got to be on the lookout for what's going on in your area, of course. Lots of large storms, it looks like. East Coast getting more and more rain and flooding, it looks like. So you probably have your own situations to deal with. It looks like the forest fires are semi getting under control out west, but I was watching video and pictures yesterday. Seattle has large fires nearby causing health concerns, and that fire outside San Francisco is still sucking them in with smoke, even though we seem to be missing that smoke here. It's avoiding us, but it's still out there. The large fire still in effect throughout the West, but the rest of you enjoy your rain while you got it. It looks like our email exchange program for water has failed. We haven't been getting it out here, but we will do what we can until we get to this weekend. So with that, we'll check out, folks. Have a good rest of your hump day and go out, live free.